Hey guys, it's indie author Nick Belisi. I am back to answer your guys' questions. Thank you so much for all of the questions. I was actually not anticipating this many to come through, so I'm thankful that you guys sent it through and you want to get to know a little bit about me, the books, and everything that I got going on. So just to introduce myself, if you don't already know, I am indie author Nick Belisi, as I said before. I wrote The Souls of Paradise, Family is Forever, and I also wrote Paradise Reborn. And the third book, Paradise Eternal, will be coming out very soon. So if you haven't checked these books out, you can check them out on Amazon. My link is in my description. It's also in all of my sites, the Facebook, the TikTok, the YouTube, all of that stuff. So if you guys want to check it out, please feel free. If you want to get caught up and listen to what we have to say when it comes to the books, you can always check out our YouTube videos where I read the books and get a little insight that way. So to kick this off, the first question that I received is, what character do you relate to the most and why? Well, I would have to say Stella. Now, I've said many times in my previous videos that a lot of these characters are different variations of myself through different parts in my life. So Stella would be the one that I relate to the most, and the reason being is because a lot of the ways that she feels and things that she does were modeled after my own personal experiences, and I think she's the one that I actually relate to the most. She was the one that was closely resembled to me. I would say Gwen was a close second because Gwen, which is the main character of my second book, she was modeled after my time when I was in the military, what I was going through, what I was feeling. A lot of her situations were based off of real life events from mine, but I'll dive into that in a different video. How did I come up with the story idea? Well, I was attending college and I was tasked with coming up with a basic storyline, and I began doing that. I originally had it modeled after a couple games that I had played. I thought I was going to go in a more horror type direction, but I wound up just sticking to my own idea, and then it kind of like created itself from there. There was nothing really that like inspired me to do so other than my own feelings on if I could relate to, or if I could erase things from my past to basically start over anew, would I do it? If I could take a pill that would make me forget certain aspects of my life, would it mold me into a better person? Would I not be hindered anymore by the bad things that have happened in my life? And that's a lot of the story where it comes from, the idea of PC3. That's basically what it came from, because for a long time I would sit there and have a lot of regrets about choices that I made in my life, relationships, or just decisions that I made. And everybody wonders if they could have that do-over. So PC3 essentially is that do-over, but then by doing over, it comes with consequences. So it kind of like elicits that idea that if you are restarting, you could be essentially unraveling everything you've had so far. So are you willing to do that? Is your life that bad that you would want to do that? Next, what character are you least like? Honestly, Detective Hunt. Detective Hunt was modeled after my boss, mostly. He kind of has the aesthetic of Douglas Cartland from Silent Hill 3, which is my favorite horror video game. So he has the aesthetic of that, but he definitely has the attitude of my boss, and a lot of the ways that he acted and stuff were modeled after that. A lot of his mannerisms, the way he talks, his attitude, all that. How did you come up with the setting of the story? Well, I actually grew up in Sussex County my entire life, and the setting is basically modeled after the small town aspects of Sussex County, such as Stillwater, Swartzwood, parts of Hampton, because Hampton Township is where I grew up most of my life. I currently reside in Newton, but that is where I spent most of my life, and Hampton's only a couple minutes up the road, but Newton's more of a city feel, whereas Hampton's more country feel. People, when they think New Jersey, they think of like the Jersey Shore or like Newark or Jersey City or something like that. But like Northwest Jersey, where I am, it's very woodland, very farms and stuff. So that's where I came up with the setting. And the name Reedsville, honestly, it just came to me one day. It didn't have any bearing or anything. There's no hidden meaning behind it. How do I market my books? Well, I sell them on Amazon. and I market them by doing videos like this or other videos I've done on TikTok. I also market them by handing out business cards. When I sell things on Poshmark or Mercari or eBay, I always include a business card in there, and then that has all the links to all the different profiles and stuff so people can follow along if they want to see the lives or if they're interested in purchasing the books. Other than that, I don't pay for marketing as of right now. I don't see the point of it, and I didn't do this to get rich or anything like that. So, you know, I'm just doing it more of like a hobby that I guess I could turn a little bit of profit from. But again, like I've said in many videos, the way Amazon prices things, I only make $1 or $2 per book sold. So it's really not anything that's going to put food on the table, at least now. Do I have any more ideas or upcoming books? Yes. I am going to finish the third book. It was put aside because of my injury and stuff like that, but now that's being rectified. So we are going to move forward and get that book published ASAP. After that, I do have 2 different ideas. It's just a matter of timing. So if I have the availability to do so and start writing those, I will. I want to publish at least 1 more book. It is not going to be a part of the Paradise series, but it is a special project I had and actually came to me in a dream. There was another one that I was publishing, or that I was going to publish a couple years ago, and I was writing about some real life experiences of my life from 2015 all the way until 2021. But I don't know that I'm going to go in that direction. I feel like certain things of that time frame, it's more or less of a let sleeping dogs lie kind of thing. It's not that it's not a good story. It's just a very, very hard story. If you ever listen to, as you know, I'm a big Blue October fan. If you ever listen to Justin Furstenfeld, one of my favorite albums of his is Any Man in America, but he doesn't perform any of those things because, you know, as he put it, you know, why would you want to relive those tough moments in your life? It's kind of like one of those things. When did I start writing? Well, I've always kept a journal. I've always been writing. It's just something I've always been passionate about. I mostly used it to deal with depression and anxiety, failed relationships and stuff like that. I always kept a journal. A lot of my earlier journals I wound up burning just because I wanted that part of my life to be gone. And I was also a lot younger then, and I figured that might help. A couple of my other journals, like my journal from the Navy, my journal from my custody battle, I even keep a journal to this day. Those are still, you know, I still have those. It's tough, you know, you have them, but you don't really want to look through them because each of them was difficult in its own way, but you don't really want to relive those things. I noticed, from me at least, it's a tough thing to read through those because it kind of brings you back to that place you were in when you wrote them, and I'm way beyond that now. Things are a lot different in life, and it's just not something that I'm interested in like diving back into. Where did you go to college? Well, I went to Lincoln Tech for 6 months and realized I didn't want to spend the rest of my life underneath a vehicle, so I dropped out of that, joined the military, and when I got out of the military, I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh for 4.5 years and received my bachelor's degree. Is there any hidden meanings in your writing? Yes. If you watch any of my YouTube videos and stuff, I break down all the Easter eggs and how I came up with those ideas, the different symbolism that I've used in my writing, because I've always envied Silent Hill with the tremendous amount of symbolism and hidden meanings that it has within its characters and dialogue and the storyline itself. So I really like that aspect of it, and I did it with my own books. There's a lot of nods to people from my real life, some characters even named after people from my real life, which I've also broken down, so make sure you check out the YouTube channel and watch those videos of me reading the books. I have special guests that jump on there with me and read with me as well, and then at the end I dive into the hidden meanings, which I will also do when the third book is published as well. I'll give it a little bit of time for everyone to check it out so there's no spoilers, and then I will start reading it aloud. And I would hope Stormy would join me for that. My motivation on writing, where do I get it from? Well, I get it from being depressed, to be quite honest with you. All of my writing that I have done has been when I have been very, very emotionally low. I found that I write a lot better with a lot more passion, stuff like that, if I'm extremely depressed. And when I'm actually really happy in life, it doesn't come to me as well as it should. Now, I believe that is attributed to me writing a lot of dark themes and stuff like that, and I can't really put myself back in my shoes when I was feeling that way if I'm not feeling that way. So it's tough, especially when I had to take like a long break, from my injury and stuff to get back into the writing, because I'm in a different place now than I was when I first got injured. So it is a little bit of a learning curve, but because it was something that I felt most of my life, I am starting to come back into it, and it is just about finished. Where do you write? Well, most of my books I actually wrote while I was at work, while I was sitting around waiting for things to do. I would write down ideas and such, and then I also have my home office where I'm sitting right now, where I would finish up and do the rest of that. So between the two of them, and then while I was out, if I came up with any ideas, I would jot them down on my phone and stuff, and then kind of flesh it out from there. What do you hope will come from your books? I just hope people enjoy them. I mean, like I said before, I'm not looking to get rich off them. I'm not trying to make a living out of it. I mean, if I did, that's great, but it's just not something that I was envisioning with them. Honestly, I was just doing it because I enjoyed doing it. I have all these stories that just come to me in my head and stuff, and I really like to just jot them down. So that's really what it all is. I mean, I've gotten many reach outs on TikTok and Facebook of people saying that the lives helped them when we did the Tuesday night healings, and when they read my book, they related so much to the character. I mean, if you read the reviews on Amazon, they speak for themselves as far as what people thought about the books, and I'm very grateful that people took the time to actually sit down and read them, but at the same token, that they related to the characters so much. If you're somebody that feels like you're alone in the world, and you have somebody telling you that they relate to a character you created off of a version of yourself, then you don't feel so alone in the world, because then you realize that other people relate to you. Other people feel what you're feeling, and other people can understand the trials and tribulations that you've been through in life. Last two questions. What would you do different now if you had to start over? Probably would have started sooner. To be honest with you, I probably would have started sooner, and I probably would have believed in myself a little bit more. And, I'm doing all the things that I've wanted to do, whether it be hosting my Tuesday night healings or my Thursday night readings, or doing the online sales that I'm doing on the thrifting, just marketing myself that way. I always wanted to create a clothing brand, which I've been working on, and I've released a few things, as you can see here. So, I'm doing all the things that I wanted to. I just wish I would have started a lot sooner. That's the only thing I would have done differently, and maybe researched a little bit more about different publishing aspects, marketing strategies and such, and just using a different platform to purchase. Although I am grateful for Amazon KDP, it doesn't exactly pay the bills. So, like they say in any situation, you got to spend money to make money, and the reason why I went with KDP is because it was free, and I didn't have to come up with some ridiculous thing. I did get several invitations from other people, like Dorn's Publishing Company and Reader's Magnet, to have them take the book on and stuff, but coming up with the figure that they want to market and produce the book is just not something I had on hand. Most of my life I've lived paycheck to paycheck, and it's not that I don't do well, but this state is very, very expensive to live in. I mean, you're talking your average rent for a studio apartment is over $2,000. So, it's a lot to take in. I mean, my house alone, it's $1,000 a month just in taxes. So it kind of gives you a figure of what I'm actually working with. Last thing, how can I get a cool shirt? A cool shirt. Okay, so I have the merch and stuff right now. It's on Zazzle. I am looking at different platforms to sell on. Zazzle's okay, but some of the quality I've gotten from product testing hasn't been the greatest, and I've had some issues with that. Right now, it is on Zazzle. When I do find a different platform, it will be on there. After I make my money from selling, thrifting, and stuff like that, I am investing in a t-shirt press, and I will start pressing them myself. So we'll have better quality things, and I'll be able to handle quality control a lot better because I'll be the one doing them. In which case, I will put them up on all the different various platforms that we stream on and such, and you'll be able to buy them from there, and probably a lot cheaper than what Zazzle charges. Zazzle, I only make about $1 or $2 as well off of each t-shirt. Again, I wasn't doing it for the money, but, if you're sitting down and taking the time to make all these things, it is nice to see something out of it, I suppose. But in this case, it's not. Again, I'm just getting started up with all this, so it is a learning curve, and we will get there soon enough. But thank you guys for all those questions. I hope that gave me an insight, or gave you guys an insight a little bit more to who I am and why I'm writing, and why I do all the things that I do. And, I'm really glad that you guys join us for these videos and that you follow along and, send me messages about the books and about the things going on in your life. Like, I love to hear from you guys, so keep doing that. And I will be seeing you guys soon for our next video.